This is going to be a good one. So, if I could go back into time, and I'm sure we've all thought this, right? And take the knowledge that I know now and use it then, the amount of mistakes that I could have avoided and how fast I could have gained financial freedom or success literally just like blows my mind. I mean, it makes me sick to my stomach to think about it sometimes, but that's why I wanted to make this video, so I could share my past experiences and hopefully you can learn from my mistakes. And I know it's easier said than done, but even if you learn one thing from this video, then it was worth it to me. And hopefully that helps you fast track your journey to financial freedom or success or whatever it might be. And stay tuned towards the end because that's when I'm going to go over one of the biggest losses that I've ever taken, and it's pretty sickening to think about. And I'm just now getting to a point where I'm like, okay, talking about it. With that being said, it's story time. So, back when I was a teenager, I remember driving down the road with one of my first bosses, and we're coming to a stop, and he looks over at me and he says, "Jack, if only I knew then what I knew now, things would be so much different." And of course, I'm young. I think I know it all already, but this really stuck with me for some reason, that exact moment. And it really made me think about how valuable, knowledge and past experiences are to somebody, right? I mean, you tend to have to learn from your mistakes before you can grow and become better at whatever it is that you're doing. And then so I started thinking, well, if I could just learn from everyone else's mistakes, then I could fast track my, path to success. Well, in hindsight, that seems logical, but it's easier said than done because from what I've found, as humans, we're pretty stubborn, or at least I know I can be at times. And sometimes I feel like we just have to learn the hard way before, we can really grow from it. So, rewind back to when I was 18, I opened up my first stock account, and I remember it like it was Christmas Day. I mean, I was so excited. I think I put like $500 or $600 in this account. Quickly researched some penny stocks because, of course, I wanted to get rich quick, right? I found a penny stock. I invested in it. It goes down pretty much immediately. At that point, I had no plan. I had no idea what I was doing, but all I did know is that I was not going to sell for a loss. So what do? I held it. Months go by. Eventually, I look at it one day and I'm up like $60 and I sell. I'm like, all right, what do? I go out, I find another penny stock. Again, have no idea what the company is. I'm just listening to what people are saying online and I invest in it. It goes down immediately. I think that time it was like a year before I got my money back. I mean, I was in it forever because, again, I was not going to take a loss. That just wasn't in my DNA at that point. So, fast forward a year from then, right? I had a buddy that was investing in cryptocurrency. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, I just spent a year like diving into the stock market, learning what a limit order it is, a market order, and, everything about trading. And then here comes along crypto. And I'm like, holy smokes, man, this is like a whole nother world. So I start researching it. And of course, you have your big cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then you have your meme coins or your, penny stocks of the crypto market. And of course, that's what I go for because I want to get rich quick, man. Like, I don't have patience. I want to become a millionaire now, right? Well, long story short, I find, a bunch of altcoins to invest in. And I did invest in some like Ethereum and like Litecoin. One of my biggest positions at that time was XRP. But anyway, it was during the crypto boom. And I remember I was up like double my money. I mean, I had like 8,000 or 9,000. I done turned $4,000 into 8,000 or 9,000. And I was on top of the world, man. I was like sitting there drinking a beer. I was like, man, I made it. Like, this is easy. And I had no idea what I was invested in. All I know is that everything was just going up at all times. I mean, it was pretty easy at that point, right? Long story short, I got greedy, being up that much. I probably should have took some profits and sold, but I didn't. I wanted more. And my portfolio went from $8,000 or $9,000 down to like $700 or $800 at one point. Like, I literally, like, it wiped out my whole account. I was devastated at that point, okay? And I literally I told myself, I was like, I'm not trading again until I like regain my money back, right? Well, 3 or 4 years that took, all right? And I will say, eventually I did end up making money on those positions. But let me just kind of recap, some of the things I learned from those experiences, right? From when I first started, investing in the stock market, penny stocks, and then, crypto and altcoins. First of all, penny stocks, meme stocks, altcoins. These are all very, very risky investments. So you have to have a high risk tolerance, and most of these have no fundamentals at all. Just meaning like there's nothing backing up the company. Like these companies or coins aren't making money. They're literally just all hype pretty much. And I found that about 99% of them fail. Anyway, what I learned though was, if you're just getting started, don't invest in these penny stocks. And I'm not saying that you can't make a ton of money with it, because I know you can. And I've had experiences where I've made a lot of money, which I'll get into. But the losses always end up taking over, especially if you don't have a plan. So the number one thing I can say is that if you do decide risky assets like, penny stocks or, even pretty much any cryptocurrency is very volatile. Just be prepared to have a plan, right? If things go wrong, cut your losses and get out. Or, if you're up a lot on the position, just don't get too greedy, right? And take your profits, okay? Unless you're invested in, a company that is going to keep growing, which I just had no understanding of when I was younger. And that takes me to my next point is do a ton of research. Like I can't express this enough, and it's at your fingertips nowadays. You have YouTube channels with people sharing their past experiences. You have ChatGPT, you have Google. I mean, there's just no excuse why you can't find the answer to everything, and learn from other people's mistakes. But I know, easier said than done, in other words. Because again, I feel like sometimes we have to learn the hard way. Those are some of the mistakes that I made, and if I could go back, I would have never touched penny stocks. I would have not necessarily not touched crypto, but just invested in like, the main ones, right? Like Bitcoin or Ethereum, that actually had a little bit of value to it. But looking back, if I could do it all over again, honestly, I wouldn't invest in any of those. I mean, I would just keep it super simple and invest in like the Mag 7, Google, Microsoft, Apple, and if I would have done that, like, holy smokes, man. I look back now and I'm like, wow, like here I am trying to get rich quick. I did nothing but make money and then lose it all, if not more, when I could have just been patient, put my money in companies that I know actually have, a fundamental basis to them and has value. And, I mean, 10 years, I mean, God, I don't even want to think about it. I mean, it's really disgusting to think about sometimes. But again, that's why I'm making this video. I want you to learn from these mistakes, and especially if you're just getting started, so then you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. And the biggest thing is don't be greedy and don't have the get rich mentality. All right, so moving on. I'm going to get back into storytelling. So fast forward 4 years later, pretty much, right? I'm working at a car dealership. I'm making more money than I know what to do with. So what do I decide? I'm going to invest. I'm finally going to figure out this day trading thing, okay? I'm still stuck on the day trading, and I'm still stuck on the penny stocks. It's like I couldn't learn from it. Like I was just motivated, and I did so much research, throughout those 4 years. I will say I did take a pretty big break where I didn't even look at anything that had to do with the stock market. I was so disgusted. And that's one thing I can say. If you're in a situation where you took a big loss, and I know it sucks, it hurts, it literally just drags you down. I get it. But don't let that stop you from investing, right? Learn from your mistakes, move on, and just start doing things the right way, okay? Just, I guess, in other words, just not as risky, right? So back to the car dealership. I put pretty much $50K into my account. Again, by this time, crypto was booming again. The stock market was pretty much booming. And I had actually made my $4,000 back and, $2,000 or $3,000 on top of that, I believe. So I made money on that investment at the end of the day. It only took 4 years for it to happen, though, so that was pretty ridiculous. But anyway, I put $50K into a trading account with Thinkorswim. That's who I was trading with at the point. And again, I'm back on small cap stocks and penny stocks, and I'm doing more research. Maybe I'm a little bit more versed now. I know what supply and demand zones are, like support and resistance. So I'm pretty much buying at support. And my goal was actually sell, even though it's easier said than done when you're actually in the position. Your emotions are going crazy, when you first start trading. So I'll take you back to this story. I literally invested into this stock. I put like $8,000 into it, I think. And by the end of the day, it was already up in after hours, and I was up like, $300-400. I'm like, man, this is cake. Like, I got this figured out now. The next morning I wake up, I'll never forget this. I mean, the stock, I was up like $8,000 or $9,000. All right. I remember getting to work and pulling out my phone, and I was like, holy smokes. Like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I'm like shaking, trying to find the sell button, right? And I'm up like 6,000, then I'm up 7,000, then I'm up 8,000, and then 9, and then like I finally I'm like, oh, sell, and I sell, and I made $9,000 that morning. I was on top of the world. Okay, one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. All right, first of all, I got greedy because it kept going up afterwards, right? And I was like, God, I shouldn't have sold, right? Don't ever think that. Take your profits and just move on to the next trade, especially if that's what your intentions are. Unless you're invested in, like, again, Apple or Google or Microsoft, like those type of companies, hold it forever, right? Don't ever sell. In this scenario, I had FOMO, man. I had so much FOMO. Like, oh, I made $9,000, but I could have made 10. I could have made 12, right? Man, please don't ever think that. That's one of the biggest things I can say. Don't get into that get rich mindset. Take your profits and move on. Don't get greedy. All right. That's like the moral of these stories that I'm telling and why I ended up losing so much money. So what I do, this stock pulls back a little bit, right? And I'm like, I'm going to get back in, right? I'm going to get back in because it's going to keep ripping up. So I go all in again, like $9,000. I think I even went bigger. I think I went like with like 12 or 13,000, took some of the profits that I made and put in there. What happens? Man, this stock crashes so hard. By the end of the day, I was down like $4,000 or $5,000 on the position. So I was still up because obviously I had made money, right? But I held that thing forever. I was so stubborn. I could have just got out and still been up, like still had made money, but I couldn't, right? I was like, nope. Like I was up $8,000. Like there's no way I could just take $1,000 loss at this point and only be up $7,000. Then it drops to $5,000, and I'm like, well, okay, maybe I'll take that $7,000. If it goes back up, I'll take $7,000. I'll do it. Like I'm getting out if it does, right? Now I'm down $4,000. I'm like, oh man, like, well, if it goes back to $5,000 now I'll take my losses, right? And I'll still lock in that profit that I made earlier. Nope. I literally rode this thing all the way down until I was down almost $10,000 before I realized that this company was done. Like it was not even a company. Like it was all hype. Like I feel like their 10K was just bullcrap. Like it was all fake. Like that's where you have to be careful with these penny stocks. Like I'm not saying you can't make a lot of money on them because I did. I just didn't know when to stop. I didn't know the reality of, what it was like trading these types of stocks, right? And the risk, the reward, and just being disciplined, right? So yeah, those gains wiped out, right? So I'm gonna wrap this video up, but now for the Mac Daddy, all right? And I'm sure if you've been following the stock market at all, you've heard of AMC. And like, I'm just like, you already know where this story's going, right? So this, mind you too, like I was taking trades in the meantime, and I was making like $3,000-4,000 on like these short squeezes, and then I was getting out and I was taking my profits, right? And then I would wait until I found another stock that was down, and like I was winning some too. But I went like, at that time it seemed like all in on AMC, right? I mean, it was already up a good bit, but I got in. I mean, I had a pretty good average at the time, like $12, right? And this thing, I think I had like $8,000 in there. All right, long story short, I had at one point, I was up like $20,000 or $30,000, all right, on like a $12,000 position, AMC, right? And again, I did not take my profits. I remember looking at my portfolio at the time, and like the overall portfolio at that time was like 70,000. And again, I had put in like, 50, and I think it was like 75,000 I was up at one point. And I was like, man, like this was after the losses and everything, right? This was like where the portfolio was. And I was like, man, and I got greedy and I wanted more. And again, and this is like what I'm trying to drive home, I did not understand that this was a failing company. I knew nothing about like income statements and fundamentals of companies. Like this was all hype. It was a meme stock. And with these types of stocks, what goes up must and will come down. Okay, it will. And holy smokes, this was another one that just demoralized me. Okay, because I went from being up that much, and I had the same mindset, right? Then I'm up like still like 55, 60 in the portfolio, still doing good, right? No. Like I was up 70 at one point. There's no way I can sell. And only make 5 or 10,000. That's not happening. Like I'm waiting until I make at least 75 again or more. And so what do? I end up buying the dip on AMC, like when it dips down to like $50, right? After it was just reached like 70 something and got even a bigger position. And it had a bounce and I had a chance where I could have sold and still made some good money, but I didn't. I kept holding it. I'm buying all the hype. I mean, I bought all the hype. Everyone, all the YouTubers and all the, Reddit forums, like I was all in. I was like, yep, they're right. This thing's going to the moon. I'm going to be rich and I'm just going to wait this one out. And I tell you what, I waited. I waited for years. And I went from being up $20,000 or $30,000 to being down $20,000. Okay? Just let that soak in. I mean, once again, I stopped. I stopped trading. I was done. I was like, it was unbelievable. I could not wrap my head around how much money I had lost. Like, and then just the fact that I was up so much at one point though. Man, it was so bad. Like, again, I'm making this video. I'm over it now. I don't care. You can make fun of me, do whatever you want. But throughout these mistakes that I just told you, I personally learned so much about investing in the stock market and what not to do, right? And that's the purpose of this video, is that I want to share these experiences with you. I mean, this is completely raw. I mean, there's no scripts or anything here. And just so you can learn from, what mistakes I have made. So hopefully you don't make the same ones. But again, I mean, I read that penny stocks were risky. Some people were all for them, some were not. And I went, the high risk, high reward route. And again, with high risk comes high rewards, but again, also can come with huge losses, as was in my case. So, I mean, this, the emotions of trading is a whole nother video topic. But again, I just stopped for so long. I just, again, was in that mindset, like, I'm just going to wait until I recover my money. Because like with crypto, right, like 3 or 4 years later, I did. It just kept going lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. And I had so many times where I could have sold, like, and just got out and not have taken an even bigger loss. But I just, 2 scenarios when I was in this, and I couldn't sell, man. I could not take the loss. All right. So wrapping this up, if you're going to trade, high risk, high volatility stocks, have a plan. Have a stop loss, have a take profit, know when to get in, know when to get out. Don't hold this thing until it goes bankrupt, all right? Like, just don't do it. Second, like, do a bunch of research. Do a ton of research. I mean, research. I don't care if you research for like a year before you make your first investment. I think it's worth it in that point. Just understand what you're doing, what you're investing in, the fundamentals of the company. You can literally like open up an account now, right? And have a cash account and just be making like 3-4% on your money while you're learning, right? And then you could even just test out the markets and just do like little trades. But anyway, don't get greedy, right? Man, greed will just destroy somebody, right? Like, you're always going to have this mindset where you're like, oh man, if I would have held this thing, I would have made even more, right? But then what happens when it goes down, right? And then you're saying to yourself, well, if I would have sold, I could have locked in those profits, right? All right, would have, should have, could have, would have, right? I do it all the time. I'm guilty of it. My wife hates when I do it, but it's hard. It is hard. And I will say eventually, you become numb to it. The moral of the story, if I could just go back and just do it all over again, literally every cent that I had would just be dollar cost averaging, into known companies, right? Apple, Microsoft, Walmart, Target. There's just a lot of companies, right? I'm not trying to name just the obvious, right? Like, NVIDIA, that would have been a big winner, obviously, but it's hard to say back then. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like the companies that aren't failing, like Apple probably be around forever. Google will probably be around forever. Microsoft, huge, right? Like Adobe. There's just so many stocks out there to invest in, and that's where you get trapped up in this like greedy, get rich quick type of mindset. Don't do it. Don't get into that mindset, all right? Just literally, if I could do anything different, every paycheck, every time I had a penny to save, I would just buy some Apple, buy some Microsoft stock, buy some, NVIDIA, whatever it is, right? Like the big known companies that everybody, trust and is buying, they're not failing, right? So then let's say you get into a situation and the market crashes like I did, right? Where I'm down $2, $3, $4, $5,000, right? $20,000. Well, guess what? If you're invested in a company like that, I promise you, eventually you will be positive on that position. It could be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road, given like the great financial recession that we had in 2008. Like maybe that's the worst case scenario, but I promise you, you will eventually get that money back, right? And that's where, don't be fearful of investing as long as you know what you're investing in. And I think that's just like my biggest thing I'm trying to drive home here. Don't be greedy. Don't get into the get rich quick type of scheme, because I'm telling you right now, if I would have done what I'm saying, right, and just invested in these known companies with every dollar that I had to invest, and I did that when I was 18 and I started, I promise you, I would be either close to or at least a millionaire by now, right? And by no means I'm doing well, right? But wow, how much more wealth I could have if I just did that. Right. And the cool thing about it is, let's just say you did that, right? And I promise I'm wrapping this up, but then you can speculate on some things, right? Like you've made thousands and thousands of dollars in the market over, 5-10 years. Like, and you finally get to that point where if you want to do like a day trade, or you want to try to swing trade, or, speculate on a stock that you think might be like the next big Apple or Amazon, then do it, right? Just be mindful of what you're investing in and know, or be willing to, lose all that money if it comes down to it, right? Because again, you're investing in a company that's not proven yet. It could pay off big. It could also lose big. So again, that's the best part about it is, start with the basics, man. Just keep it super, super simple. Invest in the companies that are known, that are not going to fail, right? Ask yourself, like, is Apple going to be here 10 years from now? Yeah, I'm pretty confident they're going to be, right? Is Walmart going to be here 5-10 years from now? Yeah, they're a juggernaut, right? Like, ask yourself that question, and if the answer is yes, don't be fearful to put your money in there, right? And obviously there's a bunch of other things that go into, like, trying to get the best pricing and when to buy, when not to buy. That's not for this video, but again, you can just keep it super simple, dollar cost average and the known companies, and move on. Don't even look at the portfolio. Get paid, buy some more, right? If it's up, if it's down, who cares? Keep buying. And I promise you, 5 or 10 years, having a long-term outlook, you're going to look back and be like, wow, thank you, Jack. Like, that was so helpful. But I get it. At the end of the day, I could have done the same thing. I didn't. I had to learn from my own mistakes. And boy, if I knew then what I know now, which is why I'm sharing this information with you guys, things would be a lot different. It would, just like my boss told me back when I was a teenager. So I hope you found this helpful. Leave a comment. Let me know, if you've had any big losses, share it. Don't be afraid to get it off your chest, and like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.